Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program will begin shortly.
Good afternoon. Lively crew. Good afternoon, everyone. There'll be plenty of time to catch up shortly. My name is Karen Cassio, and on behalf of the Blue Plate Luncheon Committee, it's a real pleasure to welcome all of you today. And on behalf of the Friends of Breakthrough Board, my co-chair, Sanjay Vyas, and I want to thank our awesome committee and the staff at Friends of Breakthrough for making this all happen. Kelly Berg, Kelly Clifford, Susan Ertl, Nora Loftus, Dave Loomis, Melanie McCrodden, Lauren Miller, Craig Panzica, and Karen Solomon. Thank you. It was actually 5 years ago today that I was introduced to Breakthrough Public Schools, sitting over there at a table with Case Western Reserve. And shortly thereafter, my husband Paul and I visited a couple of schools in the Breakthrough Network. What I saw during my first school visit and continue to see each and every time I interact with our teachers, administrators, and members of the fabulous board is an unwavering commitment to the purpose of developing the Breakthrough Public School Network, and the purpose of preparing Cleveland area students for success in life. Yes, and we're doing it. My new special friend, Alma Kamasa, proud mother of Celeste Kamasa Scott, a Breakthrough alum and an application developer for Lubrizol, says that Breakthrough provided the structure her daughter needed. There's a little laugh in her voice when she says this, but she shares that back when Celeste was at E-Prep, she was a talker and she would get in a lot of trouble for that. So Mrs. Kamasa called the school and said to Mr. Schumpert and Mr. McBride, "You punish Celeste. Keep her at school until 5 o'clock each day and give her work to do." Well, they did that, and Celeste did the work. Celeste thrived with that purposeful structure, and today Celeste is on our board. And I can tell you, and any board member in here would agree with me, when Celeste talks, everybody listens. What did Breakthrough provide for the two sons of Musa Hakim Sr.? He says it's opportunity. Were they smart? Yes. Were they on a good path? Yes. But as he says, without the opportunity, who knows? His words, not mine. Breakthrough lined up the stars. Breakthrough is more than just a name, it's a gateway. My dear friend Musa Jr. graduated from Case Western Reserve. He's a materials engineer at Swagelock, and just like Musa, his younger brother, Muhsin Abdul Hakim, headed to Kate School after Breakthrough. Kate School is a boarding school, one of the best in the country in California. He's now a junior there. That's our purpose here. Provide the structure, provide the opportunity. Back in June, Jeremiah Triplett, an E-Preps grad from 2020 and currently a sophomore at Hawkins School, spoke at the 8th grade graduation at his alma mater. Addressing their transition to high school and the education that they've been dreaming of forever, he told the students, "You show them why you're meant to be there." You see, it's our young scholars who provide the heart. Speaking of putting your heart into it, we have a treat for you. I'd like to bring up two of our recent graduates. Coming to the center of the room is Kanaya Mabry. She just started 9th grade at St. Martin de Porres, and Chloe Battle, who just started 9th grade at Hathaway Brown. You're gonna love this.
Blessings, I can't even be said anymore. that anymore. When I count all my blessings, my heart still hurts for the world that I know. Ah, the world that I know. Sinking down under the water, slipping down under, drifting out into the water, missing down under. Tell me what is it you care for? Is there even a care at all? Praying for sense and direction, praying for love and protection. Sinking down under the water, slipping down under, drifting out into the water, missing down under. Tell me what is it you care for? Is there even a care at all? Praying for sense and direction, praying for love and protection. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. If I call, Lord, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, have mercy. Remember me. Have mercy, have mercy. If I call, have mercy, have mercy, Lord. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, remember me. Have mercy, have mercy, if I call, Lord, bless you. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy, remember me.
Chloe and Kanaya, you make a lot of people proud. That was stunning, really beautiful. Thank you. And just because their mothers are here, I would love to recognize Mrs. Battle and Mrs. Johnson. Could you please stand? Or maybe they may be out there. That's all that applause is for all of you. Please enjoy your lunch. We'll be back shortly with the rest of the program. Well, I hope you're all enjoying your lunch. And if I could get your attention for just a couple of minutes here. Always hate to thwart the conversation. Actually, how about a big thank you to the Windows on the River staff for another delicious and perfect lunch? And now it's my pleasure to introduce the chairman of our board, of the Friends of Breakthrough Board, Jeff Berlin. Jeff has been a member of the board for more than 10 years and took over the leadership role as chair a year ago and wants, obviously, a chance to say hello and to welcome all of you. Jeff, thank you.
Well, thank you, Karen. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, and thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate it. Well, first, I want to say that it was hard for me to be standing here up front and watching Chloe and Kanaya. I was originally supposed to be part of that dance team, but I got injured, last minute, like a hamstring, and I had to pull out. So I apologize for not being playing my part there. They were awesome. They were awesome. First I want a couple of thank yous. Karen was just up here. I really want to thank Karen again and Sanjay, who were the chairs of the committee putting this together. What a successful event, getting this group of folks together. And the whole committee, we really appreciate your efforts. Thank you. Also want to recognize our community partners, which I think you were going to show. Okay. There's a good list of community partners. This is really important to Breakthrough. These are folks that have made a long-term commitment, year in, year out, tons of support. We couldn't do what we do without their help. So thank you very much. So my story with Breakthrough is very similar to Karen's and very similar to probably a lot of the stories that you have heard or will hear. And that is that I managed to meet John Zitzner through a really close friend of mine, Michael Crystal, who was the board chair right before I was, and visited the campus on 105 Street which was in a warehouse of some sort. And, all you have to do is visit a classroom and see the energy level, see the educators doing what they do, watching the kids and just absorbing that culture that has, really, it's been the, kind of the mainstay of Breakthrough for all these years. It's that passion that's contagious. And so this has been, for our family, this is really an important cause, education, particularly for underprivileged kids. And, we're Clevelanders, so it's the tie into Cleveland. We think this is our future. And so it's been a cause that's been really easy to stay involved with for all these years. I continue to be energized in, current role as well as other roles that I've had with the board, with not just the tremendous amount of talent that we have that I see on the board. I'm really honored to be part of this board, as well as the Breakthrough Schools board, but it's really working with the teachers and the administrators and the people that are spending countless hours to make this happen. And particularly over the last couple of years, where the environment has been so different and so challenging, and just watching them try things and figure things out, and just the amount of passion and work. It's absolutely unbelievable, what I've seen. So easy cause to be involved with. Really glad that you folks are here. Some of you may be hearing this story for the first time, so we look forward to having you visit a school and get more involved if you can. So I have the honor of introducing Esther Ling, who will be our alumni speaker today. Esther is a graduate of ePrep, and she started in the first grade, so she's almost a lifer with ePrep. Esther went on, and to her credit, is at Laurel School and is a senior, so she'll be making some college decisions here soon. And she's also been active with our alumni group, which we're going to tell you more about. So Beyond Breakthrough, which is truly an amazing effort that's been put together over the last couple of years, which we think is going to be critical to keeping folks like Esther together and communicating as they grow through their careers and help others like her achieve what she's done, which is really impressive. So with that, I would say, Esther, we look forward to hearing your story.
Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. Well, thank you for that amazing introduction, Mr. Berlin. I want to start off by saying hello, everyone. And for the next couple of minutes, I am going to be talking about my time at ePrep, where I am now, and how Beyond Breakthrough continues to support their alumni beyond middle school, which leads into Beyond Breakthrough, like Mr. Berlin mentioned earlier. Now, before joining Breakthrough, I attended Case Elementary, which was located just across the street from ePrep Cliffs. I've been with Breakthrough, as mentioned, since the first grade, and made it all the way up to graduation. I still remember all of the fun Unity circles where the entire school gathered together in the cafeteria to chant and present our homeroom chants that we all created as a class with pride. I was able to meet a lot of my closest friends there, but they aren't the only ones that I'm still in touch with today. Every now and then, I try to visit ePrep as often as I can to visit my old teachers. Whether it was to talk about the Pythagorean theorem or what our thoughts were on the new episode of Grey's Anatomy, they were always there for me. I still remember the time that I got really upset about something that happened during class, and yet the person that I immediately thought of confiding in was one of my old homeroom teachers, just because they simply made me feel comfortable and safe in their environment. Honestly, thinking back on these memories just reminds me of how much Breakthrough has helped me and how I generally just wouldn't be here if it wasn't with the support of my Breakthrough family. As a current senior at Laurel School, I can't say I envisioned myself being here when I was in 8th grade. Back in August of 2018, Mr. Schumpert, the high school placement director at ePrep Cliffs, and I think ePrep in general, asked my mom and me where we were thinking of applying to. At the time, we didn't really have an answer for him, but we did have an open mind. At the same time, I applied to other schools that were co-ed and had bigger class sizes, but Laurel was the only outlier for me. It was a single-sex institution with smaller class sizes, but their internships and extracurriculars were the programs that drew me to their school. Throughout the 8th grade, I was able to work closely with Mr. Schumpert and apply to Laurel and many other schools within the area. Fast forward to February of 2019, I received an acceptance letter from Laurel. When I saw this letter, of course, I was so excited, but at the same time, I was nervous. I didn't know I was going to be the only one from Breakthrough to attend Laurel at the time. I've never attended a single-sex institution before, and because it was an independent school, I was afraid that I wouldn't be prepared for the rigorous curriculum that many independent schools are known for. Turns out, that was actually not the case. After enrolling in Algebra 1 for 9th grade, I noticed that there were a lot of concepts being taught that felt like a review to me from my 8th grade math class back at ePrep. Because of this, I was able to help my peers get a better understanding of the material that was being taught, since I already had a solid foundation of algebra, and I have ePrep to thank for that. Now, the overwhelming amount of support from Breakthrough did not stop there. With the launch of Beyond Breakthrough, we have an official platform to stay connected with all of our alumni. Our Breakthrough Alumni Portal features tips on how to navigate through high school, scholarship opportunities, and other alumni spotlights. We even have a career expo that's coming up in about a week that aims to connect many local employers with our alumni for career and internship opportunities. As I progress through my last year of high school and into college, I hope to stay connected with Breakthrough and be as helpful as I can, hence why I also attended today's event, so thank you for having me. As for my future plans, there's still some uncertainty there because I have yet to create a final list of colleges that I would like to apply to. But something that I am certain of is that I would like to major in either biomedical or bioengineering and attend graduate school afterwards. Now, if there's anything that you take away from my speech today, I hope it's that Breakthrough is a community that is truly committed to supporting their students every step of the way. I am beyond grateful to be a part of such an amazing community, so thank you all for being here today and helping Breakthrough support many other alums like me. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce everyone to our keynote speaker, Ralph Johnson. Ralph has lived in Cleveland for over 30 years and has spent most of his professional career at McKinsey & Co. before retiring in October of 2021 to become the new CEO of Breakthrough Public Schools. Ralph is a very proud alum of the University of Michigan, which I am sure he will tell you all about. Please give a warm welcome to our keynote speaker, Ralph Johnson.
Thank you. Please, thank you so much. Let's thank Esther again. Esther, I think you left your auxiliary brain pack up here also. No, thank you so much. And you know, it's great to be here. It's great to see all of you here. I thank you so much for coming in and for really giving me a chance to just talk with all of you. And as I thought about what I wanted to share today, there are a bunch of things I could have talked about. Now I have to tell you, I am a good Baptist preacher. So if I get an amen or two, then we could be here all afternoon. No, I'm just playing. Okay, but I do have a couple of things I'd love to share, and then I think when I'm done, there will be time for you to ask some questions of me, and I'll be happy to answer those. But as I was thinking about what would be helpful and what would be maybe important and impactful for me to talk about, I leaned into something that I've been thinking about. So as Esther said, you know, my background is I'm an engineer. I worked for GM for a number of years, then went to graduate school at the greatest university in the whole world, the University of Michigan, and then came here to Cleveland, Ohio, where I went to work for McKinsey & Company. I was hired there at McKinsey by one of our FOB board members, Jim Bennett. Jim, it's good to see you. And worked at McKinsey for most of the next 3 decades. But woven throughout my career at McKinsey, and really my career and my life, has been the importance of education. And, you know, when I think about it, like my family, education is steeped in the Johnson family. My lovely young bride, Dr. Lisa Johnson, who's here today. Lisa waved, everybody. Okay, yes, my lovely young Lisa. Thank you. Lisa is a 25-year educator. She taught kindergarten at Hannah Perkins School here in Cleveland when we moved here, and then at Cleveland Municipal Schools. And then thereafter, she went on to teaching. She's an early childhood education professor, and she went on to teaching adults how to teach young kids. So she's been doing that for about 25 years. So I've sort of lived with an educator for most of my life. Before then, my mom is also an educator. My mom was a 40-year educator in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I grew up. She was a classroom teacher, a reading curriculum specialist. So she was all about education. My mom and dad both were all about education also. And then my sister, Gazelle, who unfortunately was not able to join us today, lives here in Cleveland. And for the last 30 years, she's an attorney, but she focuses and practices school law. So she's been a school lawyer in different districts here in the state of Ohio, and she now does that same thing through her own law practice. So I say all of that to say that although I'm like this business guy who came from GM and McKinsey and Company, I've got education sort of steeped all over in me. It's just all over in me, and it's been with me for a while. What I want to talk about today, though, as I was thinking about this group and this opportunity, what I'd love to talk about is something that I call year zero. So let me explain for a bit what year zero is. My first exposure to Breakthrough, once I had accepted the role and was going to come and was going to be the CEO, the week before I started even, I went out to a conference of charter school CEOs. So there were 125 of us from all around the country, different charter schools around the country. This conference was run by the Charter School Growth Fund, and I was there with all my charter school colleagues. And I got to tell you something. Now picture in your mind, this is October of 2021, last October. Almost all of these schools, like Breakthrough, have just come back to in-person teaching after a year and a half of being on Zoom during the pandemic. They're 2 months into the new school year. And I'm talking to all these folks, and we're all introducing ourselves to each other, and folks are like, oh, who are you? I've said, I'm Ralph Johnson. I'm at Breakthrough Public Schools in Cleveland, Ohio. Oh, how long have you been with Breakthrough? And I said, -8 days. And they were like, what does that mean? Well, I've not started yet. And then they're like, oh man, Ralph, did you ever pick a time to come into education? What did you do before? And I tell them about my background. Oh boy, this is, God bless you, you're coming into, and I'm like, what is the deal here? You know, maybe I should call Jim and see if I can get, no, I'm just playing. But this is what I was hearing. And as I was there with them for the week and getting all kinds of good connections and learning a lot about what was going on and about this industry that I'm now stepping into, the thing that they were all talking about was just how really challenging the school year was. And the school year was only 2 months old. And they were talking about, you know, teachers and leaders and all the challenges they were having. And all of this was before I started. Then I got here, and as I look back at my 10 months here at Breakthrough, I'll tell you all something that I've told our board and I've told our staff. I have declared that October 2021, when I started, until May 2022, was not the first year of my CEO-ship. That was year zero, okay? That was year zero. And the reason is because I realized that the real work of getting ready for a school year and doing it well starts in the summer. And so I just declared that was all year zero. Year one started June 1st. And what I want to talk about today to all of you just briefly is, well, that might have all been year zero, but there had to have been something that you learned in year zero, Ralph. So I want to talk, if I might, for just a few minutes about what I learned during year zero as CEO at Breakthrough. The first thing I learned is I learned a lot about the education sector, okay? So as I said, I talked to a lot of my CEO colleagues from other schools, and they were talking about how brutally difficult the year was and all of that, and I'll tell you the truth. You know, my first day here, not even my first day here, 30 minutes into my first day here, we started to experience that in Breakthrough. And we kind of went through it, and we dealt with it, and we handled everything as we had to. But I have to say, there were three important things that I learned about education during year zero. First is, I learned that education and being an educator is not a job. The people who do this work, this is a calling for them. It is not a job. It is not a job. A lot of people have jobs and you do them because, you got to do something. You got bills to pay, you got to work, you got to eat, all that. All of the people who work at Breakthrough Schools, they could be doing almost anything else. All of them are amazing folks. They're doing this because this is a calling that they have to education. And I've realized that, and this isn't just true about Breakthrough. I've talked to colleagues at CMSD and at Youngstown Public Schools and at Mastery Charter Schools and KIPP and all the. This is a calling for folks. That's the first thing I realize. And people who are called to this work realize that the profession of teaching, of educating young minds, is something that's worthy of the best that's in them. And so they bring the best that's within them to it. So that's the first thing I learned about education. The second thing I learned about education is that within a network of schools like Breakthrough, the foundation of trust that we have between our staff, our families, our scholars, is phenomenal. It is phenomenal. I want you to think about something for a moment. There are some professions, like think about medicine, doctors, nurses, paramedics, those folks. You trust your health to them. And what you expect is that they're going to help you maintain your health. Think about professions like finance. You trust your money to real estate agents, bankers, finance people. You trust them with your money. And you expect that they're going to provide financial stability to you. Do you know what people trust educators with? Their future. Their future. When somebody decides that they're going to come to school and they're going to trust a teacher and a principal, they are literally trusting you. They are handing you their trust for tomorrow. That's what folks are doing. And what I've realized is, as people are doing that and they're entrusting us with this, that foundation of trust is just hugely important. It's unshakable, and we are privileged at Breakthrough that we have so many families and so many scholars who trust us with their future. And then the last thing that I learned, the third thing that I've learned about education is this isn't so much of a learning for me as it was a reminder or a remembrance for me. I said to our new teachers a few weeks ago when I had a chance to greet all 85 of them, I said to them, being an educator fulfills what I think are three universal desires of every human being. Every human being. Three universal desires. What are those? First is, every single human being wants to be important. Everybody wants to be important. Everybody wants to know that what they do matters, that they're important, that what they're doing has real weight, it has real heft, it has real impact. Everybody wants to feel important. The second universal desire of every human being is everybody wants to be influential. Everybody wants to know that not only does the work I do matter, but there's somebody who it mattered to. I've made a difference in somebody's life. I've done something that was impactful to somebody. I've had just my presence in their life has been influential in someone's life. People want to know that they're influential. And then the third universal desire that every human being has is people want to be immortal. Now, I know, none of us will actually talk about it. None of us, it's not polite. But we all want to live together. We all want to live forever. You know that. You know that. There's not a person in this room who doesn't want to live forever. If you could stay healthy, stay in your right mind, everything be cool, you want to live forever. Everybody wants to. We want to be immortal. What I said to the teachers that day, I'm going to say to you now, is every single person in this room, there is some teacher, some principal, some instructional aide, somebody like that at some school somewhere who made you believe that you could do this school thing. As a matter of fact, I want you all to do a little something with me, if you would. I want you to close your eyes for a moment. And I want you to think about who was that teacher who really mattered to you, who really influenced you. Who was that teacher? Now open your eyes. Raise your hand if you immediately could think of who that person was. Look, every hand is up. And not only that, but listen, not only could you think of who that person was, you could picture them in your mind, can't you? You can hear their voice still. And for some of us, my gray hair is real. It's been a day or two since we've had that, right? So this person, what I said to these teachers is, I want you to understand, like, that's who you have the potential to be. My person was a woman named Mrs. Laux. She was my 4th grade teacher. I'll never forget Mrs. Laux looking at me one day and saying, Ralph, you really have an unusual understanding of math. Like, you're really, like, unusual. And she'd been teaching for a long time. And she told me that I had an unusual understanding about math. She helped me realize, wow, I'm smart. I can do this school thing. She gave me confidence that I could do it. And listen, Mrs. Laux, because of that, she was important to me. She was influential to me. But here's the amazing thing. I never got a chance to tell Mrs. Laux that. Mrs. Laux passed away. I just looked her up a few weeks ago as I was preparing to talk to those new teachers. I said, let me see if I can find Mrs. Laux. And Mrs. Laux passed away in 2006 at the ripe old age of 92, after having been an educator for 30, 40, 50 years maybe. I never got a chance to tell her how important she was to me, how much she influenced me. But you know what, my friends? Mrs. Laux is immortal. She is still alive in me. She is part of the reason why I am the CEO of Breakthrough Schools. She is immortal. She's living forever. That's what I wanted our teachers to understand, and that's what I have really come to understand more in year 0 of being at Breakthrough. What we do lets us fulfill all of those desires. And I wanted our teachers, and I wanted our staff, and I want all of you who are supporting us to know that's what I've learned about education in year 0. Now, not only have I learned some stuff about education writ large, I've also learned some things about Breakthrough. What have I learned about Breakthrough? Well, the thing I've learned about Breakthrough is that Breakthrough continues to be all about rising to meet the challenges. That's what Breakthrough is about, rising to meet the challenges. I was privileged to be part of the founding of Breakthrough Public Schools. Like everyone in this room who's been part of Breakthrough Public Schools, all of us, our lives and our stories all lead back to one person whose initials are Jay-Z, but I won't point him out to anybody. But like all of you, the firm I was at, McKinsey, got a call from Jay-Z about some help that Breakthrough needed, and our office manager said, Ralph, do you want to help them out? And I said, sure, I'd love to. And so we staffed a team, and I began to work with and meet this force of nature called John Zissner. And I was privileged to be part of the founding of Breakthrough Public Schools with John and with Alan Roskam, and I don't see Alan, but Alan, where are you? There's Alan, my predecessor, Alan Roskam. Thank you. I was privileged to be part of the founding of Breakthrough Public Schools that started off as 3 schools and grew to 12 by the time I got here. And you know, we've always risen to the challenge of trying to help educate all of Cleveland's kiddos. More recently, we rose to the challenge in the spring of 2020 of quickly and successfully pivoting to remote learning, right? We rose to the challenge of a choppy return to school last year. And what I learned through that about Breakthrough is we have an amazing and committed team. And listen, I want to give a special shout out to the teachers, the deans, the principals in particular. So none of them are here right now because on this week number 2 at Breakthrough Schools, we are already doing an important test, our iReady test, the foundation of which will help us understand how do we intervene with individual kids. So that's what all of our teachers and deans and principals are doing. So I want to give a shout out to all of them. And I'm going to mention our principals in particular because this is on YouTube. And when they read it, I want them to know that their CEO thanks them. So Leah Martello, Emily Rogoff, Kelly Ford, Mark Johnson, Aaliyah Van Leer, Shatara Miller, Emily Johnson, Matt Wiz, and Alice Aliabois. Thank you very much for what you all do. There's one other person who is here who I want to thank, and I want to say something about this. When I happened to be sitting at the table here next to our Chief Academic Officer, Mr. Andrew McCrae, and when I saw Andrew here, I told him, you're too busy to be here today. You do know that, right? But thank you for being here, Andrew. And Andrew said, yeah, thank you for being here, Andrew. Andrew said something to me a while ago that I really remember, and it encapsulates not just him as the educator he is, but our principals, our teachers, all of them. He said something to me. He gave me an analogy that really resonated with me. He said, you know, Ralph, there are some people, there's a lot you can do in the education sector to affect education. You could work at one of these ed tech companies. You could work at a think tank. You could support through being a consultant or something. He said, the way I think about this, Ralph, you didn't know I was listening to you, did you? He said, the way I was thinking about this, Ralph, is it's like when you're a traffic police officer or a traffic cop. He said, there are some traffic cops who direct traffic standing on the sidewalk with the clicker in their hand. And they make the light turn red, yellow, green while they're standing on the sidewalk. He said, Ralph, there are other traffic cops who get in the middle of the intersection. They're like, yeah, you come, no, you go. He said, me, I'm going to direct traffic from the middle of the intersection. Thank you. Thank you to all of our principals for directing traffic from the middle of the intersection. So we're doing that. We've got amazing staff. We're rising up to meet the challenge. And I want to tell you, we didn't just survive last year. We didn't just survive last year and kind of limp along into this year. No, I believe we've gotten better. I think we've gotten better at recruiting. As I said, we've recruited 85 new teachers since June, and all 85 of them started last Monday, and all 85 of them are still here. That we've never had to do that before. We have gotten better at the very unsexy but very important support work. Like our IT department has turned over and gotten ready 7,000 Chromebooks for our scholars to use. Every scholar has 2. They've made sure that 40 of our mission critical systems are all ready to work. Our HR department has not only done all of that recruiting, but they've made sure that as all these people have come on board, that their licenses are right and their benefits are right and all the other things that we need in order for them to work here are all right. And then our operations folks, I think I saw Megan Johnson somewhere. There she is, MJ, our interim chief operations officer. You know, she and her team, thank you, MJ. Megan and her team have made sure that our schools look amazing. And then, so think about this. We have to serve 2 meals a day to 3,400 kids. In May, our longtime food service provider said, you know what, we're going to exit this business, hope everything works out for you all. Literally. Megan and her team found us another food service vendor, got them on board, got them up. Day one, they're delivering trucks. Everybody's eating. The kids and staff tell me they like it better. That's good. You know, that doesn't happen by accident. That happens because of that very important but unsexy work that Megan and her team do. So thank you for that too. We've gotten better at all of that. But then I have to tell you, most importantly, we've gotten better at focus. We've gotten better at focus. This year, you know, Andrew and his team have made sure that 100% of our network is focused on literacy. We're all about literacy. We're all about phonics. We're all about making sure that kids can read and that they can read and that they have what we call foundational literacy. A couple of weeks ago, Kareem Weaver, a national speaker, came in and talked to us about this, and he told us that we have to focus on the kids who have the biggest struggle around this, okay? And in order for us to do that, us focusing on that means that when we're combating the learning loss, we're not just focusing on remediation of students who are behind, we're focusing on acceleration. Well, what's the difference? Acceleration means we hold the bar. So if a 7th grader is struggling to read and they're reading at a 5th grade level, we still hold the bar at 7th grade for them. And the teacher then intervenes and helps make sure that they're able to fill that gap to the 7th grade level. That is hard to do. It would be easier to remediate and say, you're at 5th grade level, let's try to get you to 6. No, we're holding that bar high. I've learned that about Breakthrough, that we rise up to meet that challenge. And you know, one of the things that I really like about what Andrew has sort of helped us get in the mindset of is that we are all literacy teachers. I don't care what subject you're teaching. We are all literacy teachers. I had a really cool experience last week. I went in the classroom of one of our new teachers at our Glenville campus, and he's a dance instructor. First one we had here at Breakthrough in a long time. He teaches dance. It's part of, you know, one of our, we call it Connections, one of our you know, art, music, that kind of thing, and he teaches dance. And as I was in talking to him, he showed me on his board, now this is a brand new teacher, okay? He showed me on his board, on his whiteboard, he said, so I've got all the ballet terms written down, Mr. Johnson. So I'm going to talk to them about these ballet terms, and we're going to talk about, you know, different sentences and how to use these terms, and we're going to be doing this, we're going to be talking about this while we're here. He said, because I got to make sure that we're focused on literacy while I'm teaching them dance. That is really cool. I got to tell you something. That is really cool to have that kind of focus for us. So that's what I've learned about Breakthrough. You know, year zero, as I said, has taught me some things about education. It's taught me some things about Breakthrough. The final thing I want to talk just briefly about is year zero has taught me to dream a bit about year one, which I'm in the middle of now, and beyond. What has it taught me? Well, a lot of my friends and former colleagues ask me, why in the world would I come into education right now? And I tell them, this is an important time because we're in a liminal space. We're in a transitional moment in the education sector and at Breakthrough. We're in that liminal space that's between here to there. That threshold moment we're not where we were, but we're not where we're going yet. We're in that liminal place. And when I think about this, the analogy that comes to my mind is a guy named Dr. Ronald Kruger over at the Cleveland Clinic. So 20 years ago, I went and got LASIK eye surgery from Dr. Kruger. And he did what was then a new technique called monovision. And what they do is my right eye I can read with, and my left eye I can see distance with. So after he got done doing the laser surgery on my eyes, as I was walking out, he said, now, Ralph, I have to tell you something. It is really important for you to keep both your eyes open all the time. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, look, if you close your right eye when you're trying to drive, and then you close your left eye when you're trying to read, your brain will never figure out which eye to get the signal from. But if you keep both your eyes open, then you'll be able to read a book and then look up and see Lisa walking the dogs, you know, from across the street. Your brain will automatically switch if you keep both your eyes open. What does that mean for us? Here's what it means for us. We have to keep both our eyes open. We have to be focused on today's problems and tomorrow's potential. We have to be focused on today's issues and tomorrow's insight. We have to be focused on today's obstacles and tomorrow's opportunity. We have to keep both our eyes open as we move into year one. Well, practically, what does that mean? Well, here's what it means. I was, roughly speaking, if I could be so bold as to say in his presence, I think I'm the same age that my predecessor was when we both started as CEO of Breakthrough. Alan had an amazing 12-year run. I hope that I have a 12-year run. I hope it's half as successful as his is. Now, I've got to tell you, I'm going to really quickly take a very big chance and do something because this is on YouTube and so it'll live in posterity, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to tell you all a couple of my dreams. First, I've got a dream for our families. I've got a dream that we at Breakthrough are able to provide more and more of the support and assistance that they need. I know that we need to partner more. We don't have to do all of this ourselves, but we need to partner more with organizations in the city and in our community that want to help our families. What am I talking about? I'm talking about out of school time. When I think about this, my dream for Breakthrough is that a mom and dad who have to be at work at 7 in the morning can bring their kid to whatever Breakthrough school they're at 6:30 or 6:45. They can know that their son or daughter is going to get, something to eat for breakfast, is going to have time to get themselves prepared for school. They're going to get safely to school if the before care isn't at school. And then, if they don't get out of work and can't pick their kid up till 5:30 or 6, that their child will be able to stay there and will get help starting their homework and will get, time to run and get some exercise and time to eat. That is my dream for Breakthrough, that we provide that for all of our kids, all of our campuses. That's my dream, that we do that for our families. I dream that we'll provide even more health and wellness help for them. Things like COVID vaccines, which we already do, but maybe even childhood immunization. Maybe even more social emotional help there at the school. That's my dream for Breakthrough, for our families. My dream for our staff is that we will continue to provide more and better support that they need. And I don't just mean compensation. When I think about compensation, my goal around comp is very simple. I don't want anyone to ever come to Breakthrough because of the money. I don't want them to not come here because of the money. Okay? So our comp needs to be in that range where people it won't be a reason for them to not join us if we want them to. But we need to do that. The other important thing is our teachers and our staff are here because they want to grow and develop as leaders. So I want us to intentionally be focused on how do we help them be the leaders they aspire to be. That means purposeful development. We need to do better at spreading the amazing in-the-moment feedback that we do with our teachers. We need to spread that to everybody. We need to be intentionally helping talented teachers and deans who aspire to be school leaders and principals. We need to be apprenticing them to that so that they will feel confident when that day comes and will feel confident about them. We need to make sure that all of our staff understand that they can build a career across Breakthrough. They don't just have to stay in ops if they don't want to. They don't just have to stay in IT. Breakthrough is a big place. There's a lot they could do. We need to be intentional about making sure that we're providing that kind of career opportunity for all of our folks. The result of all of that is that we're going to have staff who run to work. That's what I'm excited about for our scholars and our staff, that they're going to run to work. I had a really cool example the other day. I was at one of our schools, and I met a young woman named Miss Mariah. And I said, "Oh, what's your last name?" She said, "Jordan." I said, "Oh, okay, well, you're Miss Mariah." "Yeah," she said, "My sister teaches right across the hall. And I'm a brand new teacher. My sister recruited me to come here, so she was here first, so she gets to be Miss Jordan. I'm Miss Mariah." That is really cool. I want all of our teachers to be doing that. In fact, we had, of our 85 teachers, new teachers, 31 of them, more than a third of them, were referred by somebody else in Breakthrough. That's my desire. That's my dream for us, that we're the kind of place that's going to attract that. And then finally, my dream for the community. The community, my dream here isn't new. You all are my dream community. I looked around, I saw Diane from Say Yes here. I saw Dorothy from ODA, amazing partners. I see so many of you who are part of Breakthrough and our Breakthrough board and our school boards here. You know, you all are the dream team for our community. And my goal, my desire of all of this is that this just continues to grow and develop more. When I talk to my charter school colleagues, they cannot believe the relationship that we have with Cleveland Municipal Schools. They cannot believe it. So Matt Radu, I don't know if Eric is here, but Matt's here, thank you. They cannot believe the supportive relationship that we have with Cleveland Municipal Schools. When I talk to them about the fact that we've got Friends of Breakthrough and we've got a community who's rallying around to support us, they cannot believe that I don't spend all kinds of time doing that myself. You all are the community. My only dream for you is that you do more, better, and that we continue to inspire you to want to do more and better. And then finally, my dream for our scholars. I dream that their breakthrough education is going to be the gateway to choiceful futures for you. That you'll be able to do whatever you want because of your breakthrough education. My dream for all of our scholars is that they're going to turn into a young man who's sitting at my table named Terrence Reynolds, I believe it is, right? Stand up, Terrence. So let me tell you Terrence's story for those of you who haven't heard it. If you've ever seen the first of the breakthrough videos that are done, there's a young man in 7th grade in 2006 or something like that who was doing a report on being a software engineer. And the screen was scrolling faster than him, if you remember the video, and he kind of stopped and looked at it. But he was talking about this career as a software engineer being a career of the future. Terrence graduated from Breakthrough, went to high school, went to college, moved to Japan as an English teacher in Japan, and then after doing that for a couple of years, studied and became a software engineer, lives in Tokyo, and he is what he talked about being in 7th grade. That is my hope for us. That's my hope for Breakthrough. That's what I dream for Breakthrough. None of this can happen without you. Listen, I thank you all for believing in Breakthrough. I thank you for believing in the power of education. I thank you for believing in me, believing in our staff, believing in our families, believing in our scholars. I thank you all for believing in us, believing in the Esthers and the Chloes and the Candidas and the Terrences. I thank you for believing in us. And I thank you for being here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Kelly, I'm 2 minutes over. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm happy to entertain any questions. If anyone has any, please just raise your hand. Kelly will get to you with the mic. Sure. So I think the question is, what has the Ohio legislation done in order to support? I missed the tail end of it. Was it about support?
No, there's been a lot of restrictions on what kids can and cannot read. Has that impacted the curriculum and or the types of books that you carry in school?
So the question is, there's been a lot of restrictions on what kids can and cannot read, and has that had any effect on us? I'm proud to say that it has not. Look. Just to make sure we're all clear, Breakthrough Public Schools is largely, though not exclusively, but almost exclusively, black and brown kids. And I think our kids need to know, and all of our kids need to know, they need the exposure to history, they need exposure to social science, they need exposure to all of that. And so I'm proud of us at Breakthrough that we are not restricting. Now, we're being age appropriate and all those kind of things. We're being appropriate about it, but we are not self-policing ourselves about that. No, we're not. Thank you. Thank you for the question. What other questions? Any other questions for me? Yeah, please, Dave.
For people that are curious out there, can you just kind of give us a sense of test scores that are going to be, kind of non-existent for a little bit, and then will come back into existence? But, I think one of the things that we've hung our hat on in the past is, hey, we have great performance. Everything is relative, obviously, but some great performance. But of course, now I think we're in a situation where maybe we don't know. If you could just say a little bit about that, and maybe time frame of when that will sort of all level back out to something meaningful.
Sure. So, we'll know once the data comes out about it, which is still not out yet, as I know. But we have always been, and we pride ourselves still on being, in all of the neighborhoods where we are, we're the top or the second choice school in that neighborhood in terms of the quality of the education we provide. Do I hope and expect that will continue to be the case? Yes. I will tell you, I want to say this tactfully. I have no interest in us continuing to be marginally better than the other places around us, right? I want us to be the kind of school where any parent anywhere can decide, wow, this breakthrough place might be a place I want to send my child, okay? And that means we need to be comparing ourselves to whoever we think the best is, right? I won't name any districts, but we all could imagine. That's the bar that we're trying to hold ourselves up against. Now, how long is it going to take for us to get there? The one thing I am realizing is when you have a scholar we've got some scholars who are 3 grade levels behind in reading or math. And it is heroically hard, again, back to what I learned about teaching and about breakthrough, it's heroically hard to make sure that a scholar learns what they need to learn in a year. So if a scholar starts, is in 4th grade, at the start of the year, it is a hard job to make sure that they learn all that they should learn in 4th grade. But now suppose that scholar's only reading at a 2nd grade level. Now you've got to learn more than that. And this is where the work that Andrew and his team are doing around acceleration is actually mattering. This is going to be a bit of a thing that we're going to have to work through over a number of years. I am very happy to say one other thing, though, and that is we are really, really focusing on making sure that our K-2 students, that we can get and keep them on grade level. That's our real focus. And we're not abandoning everybody else, so I don't want anybody hearing the wrong thing. But we are making sure, because if we can make sure that we're good at acceleration, we actually are. We're good at helping people make more than a grade level of change in the course of a year. Now that we're back in person, we're good at that. We can work our way through this problem in a few years as long as we can keep everybody where they need to be. And that's really the work that Andrew and all the amazing educators who work with him are really trying to make sure we do. So thank you. Yeah. Please. Oh, okay, sure. Please. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you, Ralph. I would love for you to talk a little bit with us about what we've done to recruit teachers this year and what your plan is for retaining teachers. I think that we are all fully aware of the challenge that our country has on this topic, and I think just having a little look behind the scenes, I think it's incredible what Breakthrough is doing. So I'd love for you to share some of that with everybody.
Okay, well, I'm not going to share too many trade secrets. No, I'm just playing. What did we do? Literally, teacher recruiting on June 1st, we realized that we were 85 teachers short, I think, of what we needed for this school year. And it was literally all hands on deck all summer. We did a lot of things. We have always incentivized a little bit our staff to refer people who they knew. We took that incentive from a few $100s to a couple thousand. Why? I mean, look, we need teachers, okay? If you know somebody who's going to be a great teacher and we'll interview them and hire them, yeah, we'll give them a signing bonus. We'll give you one for finding them. Like I said, 31 of our 85 teachers came to us that way. That's one thing we did. The other thing we did is we made sure that we put, and this was hard for them. What I'm getting ready to say was hard for them. But Andrew and his team, and realizing the importance of us getting the number of teachers we needed, he actually said to a number of the folks who work with him, you need to be spending your time for the next 4 weeks interviewing teachers. That's what you need to do. That's almost all you need. I know you got other stuff to do, but you've got to spend your time interviewing teachers. So we had senior members of our academic team who were doing the first round interviews. And because they were doing those first round interviews, at the end of their hour-long interview, they were like, Cecil, I like you, you're good. We want you to come work for us. You're going to go to the Glenville School. And like immediately we were able to do that with them. So that was another thing that we did with them. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, please.
You did not talk about statistics, but I think most of us have seen them in the past, that students who go to breakthrough schools go off the charts with better academic performance, whereas only a few percent can normally pass the test, 80, 90% pass the standardized test. Given that, I would think that in the communities we serve, that the parents would be breaking the doors down to get their children into breakthrough schools. Yet I understand that sometimes it's a challenge just to fill the classroom when it's just easier to send them to the same old school that isn't working. Why is that so hard and to get parents to not want to break the door down to get their children into breakthrough schools? Why should we even have an issue of, we ought to have a lottery where there's 10 students for every 1 spot instead of having to recruit students?
So I'm happy to report that this year, for the first time in a little while, we do have wait lists in a number of our schools and a number of our grades. I also will tell you, just in the spirit of honesty, we're all family here, Breakthrough does have very high academic performance. As I said, we're better than the alternatives that many of our families had. But we're not yet like elite about that. We need to become elite about it, but we're not yet. And the other thing is, a number of the things I talked about in terms of my dream for our families, I think those are big issues. I talked to a family the other day. They're having a transportation issue. We are legally prohibited from giving their kindergartner an RTA bus ticket, though they have a 7th and 8th grader also. So they're going to take their kids, I hope they don't, but there's things like that that are going on about this also. And I firmly believe that the onus is on us as an institution, as Breakthrough Schools, on me, Andrew, Megan, our other chiefs. The onus is on us to make sure that we are being clear, compelling about why Breakthrough is the best place for their kid to be. Because, as long as we can make that case very clearly and very persuasively, and we have all the support we needed, then I think we will have people continuing to beat down the door to get into Breakthrough. Listen, I could stand here and talk all day. I don't want to do that. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate it.
So I'm Jay-Z, and we will get you out at 1:30. It's 1:28, but a couple of things I just wanted to say. First of all, thanks again to the host committee, Karen and Sanjay and the whole committee, and all of our board members, and all of you for being here. It means a lot to me. And thank you, Ralph, again. Great job. You, Esther, who had to run out because she abides by what she learned at Breakthrough, which is that every minute matters and every second counts. And she said, I got to get back to school. I got to get back to school. So that's why she snuck out. And Terrence, so good to see you here from Tokyo. On your seat, this is a piece that is called Breakthrough 102. It kind of gives you a picture of Breakthrough. If you will scan the QR code, it won't take you to the donation page, don't worry. But it will take you to a page where you can sign up for a tour. So I hope what you heard from Esther and from Terrence and Ralph and Jeff Berlin and Karen, that you want to take a tour. If you haven't been on how many people have seen our school? Raise your hand if you've seen the school. That's a lot, but there's a lot of hands that are down too. So go ahead and take a picture of that QR code on your phone. It'll take you to a place to sign up. We have a tour on the 15th of September and a tour on November 10th. So I hope to see you there. It is 1:30, and I thank you for coming to lunch.